Well, you suffered all those consistent power cuts throughout the rest of yesterday evening. Please don't worry. I hope that you've been able to get onto the road. And before you do that, we have to tell you which of the routes will be possibly better for you to use to get to your destination. And so through courtesy traffic.com.gh, we're able to be here and give you the best routes. We'll start with the Ring Road central routes that leading to the industrial area here in Okram. And if you're coming from especially areas around Kanda, we have Osu, we have Dankwa, you may be in a position to use this route as quickly as possible at this time of the day, especially the morning. It's just about 6:38 as we have time check in the studio. We're seeing a bit of traffic, especially from the Paloma bus stop area if you're heading towards the Kwame Nkrumah interchange area. And so it also means that by the time you get to the NNIT area, you're likely going to see some bit of traffic in the meantime before you get to the industrial area. And so this is the time for you to quickly move on so that you can dodge traffic, if not swerve traffic, if I can put it that way. Now let's go to Tema and all those coming from Afienyam, Michelle Camp and some of those areas who want to get onto the motorway or just want to do the round robin trip to the Harbour route, the Valco roundabout or the Mankwadze roundabout. This is the best route you have to use as quickly as possible because in the next 10 to 20 minutes it's going to be more congested. And so you get to the Tema end of the Accra-Tema motorway, you're likely to see some vehicular traffic that is consistent with the period and that route at this time of the morning. Now let's move on and go on to the next route we're likely to check. We'll look at Tekwashe, we'll look at the Belmakam Gifford Road as well. That will lead you to Cantonment, etc. And then we'll also look at some of the plausible routes. What is ready now is the Gifford Belmakam route into Cantonment, and it looks like the traffic this time of the day is building up. It's just Thursday, so it means that activities are heading to a halt. Those who want to finish their schedules quickly as possible and get on to celebrate the weekend or get on some other activities for the weekend will do the rush hours for the morning. And those leading to the traffic lights or the intersections around Elwak, and so it means that you're coming from the bypass from Airport Hills, Laboni, Labadi, and you want to get onto those areas around Cantonment. This is the route that you have to use. You have no choice. It's a bit softer now as far as the congestion is, so you can get on there. Several meters or kilometers away from that, we have Tetekwashi. And if you look at the build-up of traffic coming from the Medina Zongo Junction area, for those residents who are around, we have Amra here, Pantang, Ayi Mensa, who even may be coming far off from Dodowa, or let's say this morning want to get to Accra Central through Somanya, Bong. And this is the route for you to use. You look, it's just congested as it is, but that's a roundup or a wrap-up of the traffic situation. Make sure that you get onto that news, the traffic portal, traffic.com.gh, and you get some of the best updates that is related. We have to get on and do the newspapers. And guys, we're ready.
Yes,
we are. Hi, Mama.
Hello. I'm okay.
I see where we.
Thank you. Yeah,
the phone call that we had at dawn.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, but if we did it at dawn, like I'm not sure that should be possible.
Be enough time. Yes, yeah. Maybe for me as
women do it 24 hours.
Yes.
Anyway. But my fabric Cassie Woodine. So thanks to Woodine for the fabric.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
This Woodine.
Yeah,
looks different.
Both,
yeah,
actually.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Adorable.
No, this is not. This is Auntie B.
Auntie B.
Hey, Charlie, you know them.
Yeah, the designs. All right, Kujo.
Yes. We've got papers, lots of them.
Yeah, we have.
We'll rush through the headlines quickly and then settle for some stories. The Ghanaian Times has these. Let's have multi-stakeholder dialogue. That's what the CSOs are calling for. We'll hit streets over Ghana partnership schools. That's what the teacher unions have to say. University of Education Winneba students disrupt lectures over lecturers and other staff dismissal. And Professor Kwabena Nketia passes away. Very sad. Very sad.
Peace. Contributed greatly to Ghana's
music, and he was a professor emeritus. Not many of those in the world, let alone in Ghana.
Police grandfather.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Police pip immigration in women's special competition. That's a sports story on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. And Japanese embassy commits $337,784 to support 4 projects in Ghana. That's a rather exact figure, but thank you to the Japanese embassy for that. 4 projects in Ghana to benefit from it. I'll do the daily guide quickly. The I Group sues Manasseh 10 million Ghana cedis over Castle militia report. I have only one thing to say about that. I'll say it later. AG files 105 documents in ex-SNIT boss case. That case is still ongoing. Sometimes I forget it's even happening. Ernest Thompson is the defendant there. Okay, Nana Rekwado, a.k.a. Chuman, Manasseh, Joseph Yamin, and the late Professor Kwabena Nketia are all on the front page in pictures. With Joseph Yamin, the headline is Confusion Rocks NDC over Vigilantes. And with Professor Nketia, of course, it is the sad news of his death. Back page, we have a few stories here. Resource centers to be ready June. The multi-purpose sports resource centers are the ones being referred to here. Sami Auku gives Kotoko hope. All set for 6th Ghana fastest human launch. Club Bear launches Club 5 on 5 tournament, and Pep praises Ronaldo. Finally, Takwa gets stadium. Exciting news for the Western region. That's that.
Let's get on to the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Graphic. Big narcotics haul. NACOB intercepts 5,851 weed slabs and 2 clearing agents arrested. Story by Mary Mensah. Full story, page 3, the Daily Graphic newspaper. Also on the front page, resign. UTAC tells University of Education Winneba Vice Chancellor. And then CD will regain strength in 2 weeks. Finance Minister giving that assurance. Details of that later. $280 million Takrady. 3 thermal plant idle, particularly when we're experiencing what we're experiencing, right? The story says it worked for like, this plant was in 2013, worked for about 6 months, generated a significant amount of power, and then it hasn't been working since. Classic. Back page of the paper. Work progresses on Tema motorway runabout project, and then Oda Anglican school head teacher electrocuted. Ooh. Okay, center spread of the paper. Ghana does not need GMO to ensure food sufficiency, says a Greek minister, and don't succumb to pressure on cannabis legalization. That's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper.
Okay, let's get mainstream and try and do the Daily Dispatch newspaper. It has on the front page, a minister's warning to politicians about Zongos is on page 2. The story is well articulated on page 2 of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. And then we also have Sir John on fight against Galamsey. High authorities helping culprits to return. My minister is aware. This was called from myjoyonline.com, and it follows an interaction he had on PM Express with the events mentor. We also have on the front page, Reverend Frimpong Manso's outburst. It's nonsense to say vigilante groups belong to individuals, and making reference to who really controls the vigilante groups in the political party. Is it the political parties or individuals within the political parties? And again, the Daily Dispatch is again telling you, you can now just download an app and get all the latest as far as the latest stories are for the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Your uncle should be paying us for all the advertisements you've been doing on the show. Let me do the last one before Mamavi does a final, and then we conclude with 1 or 2 other papers. We have the Statesman newspaper. It has a big Kokotu, and that's Ghana and the Ivory Coast reject ISO. Ghana Cote d'Ivoire ditch certification in favor of farmers' interest. DI sues Manasseh Multimedia for 10 million Ghana cedis. Story out there on the back page though of the Statesman. The Daily Statesman newspaper. We have Man City's best chance to conquer Champions League. Pat Nevin, a former Chelsea legend, is analyzing this. You know, the English, they're always very boisterous about their teams. So we'll see how that goes. So far, we've had about 4 of them qualifying to the quarter-final stage. That's a good thing for the Premier League or English football. Asante Kotoko departs to Zambia ahead of Zesco clash. And you're doing the finder?
Yeah, the finder that turns business on Thursday. So front page of the business finder. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire rejects cocoa ISO certification. That story is in another paper that you just reviewed. They say it will worsen plight of farmers. Gexim to create over 1,200 jobs.
Oh, it's
not
here.
Sure. Which one is that?
Came yesterday.
Okay. And then poor publicity, low patronage, Mar Trade Fair. I think it was the 23rd exhibition or so. And those who exhibited say they made losses. I think I had a few, but things have changed though. Like things have changed. You don't. And you can't still do the exhibition like we used to do in the past.
You expect people to troop in.
You have to change strategy because you know these days nobody would. I don't know. It has to be some concerts here and there. Like it's got to be merged with something. You have to have other things. You can't just say you are selling stores. People should come and get a stand and exhibit and expect that people would go there and go and buy.
The thing is, it has to be a whole package. Maybe there's a seminar, there's something for all categories of the demographics we have in the
I'm not
market.
sure how they did this one.
Yeah.
I want to take my time and read how they did it.
I think the headline itself hints at perhaps one of the biggest reasons why it didn't go well, and that's poor publicity.
Yeah.
I mean, I caught a glimpse of something about a trade fair coming up in one of these newspapers during a review. Now, I'm fortunate and privileged to get a chance to see all the newspapers every day.
But did you even go?
I didn't. And I saw it once. I glimpsed it somewhere. So most people probably didn't even know it was happening. And even if they did, they would have seen it somewhere like I did, and it wouldn't have been enough impetus for them to want to be there.
I think I had a radio commercial or so.
Actually,
there has to be something that would move someone to want to go to the trade fair.
So clearly, the publicity for it was not enough to fill the stands. And something needs to be looked at for the next one, because these things could be potential money spinners if they are done well. All
right, let's look at one or two before we go on to do the discussions of some of the rallying stories. The Custodian has on the front page, big cracks in NDC as Volta demands vice presidential slot. You have pictures there of Sylvester Mensah, former Speaker of Parliament Dua Jaho, Emmanuel Kofi Boah, Julius Debra, and then Professor Joshua Labi. Okay, then we have Government Council's bad road contracts and PDS. PDS is the replacement for ECG. Promising efficient power supply.
This is their welcome. Like, is it like their opening address?
Yeah, but guys, this may have nothing to do with PDS. It may have nothing to do with PDS, and I'm saying this because there were power outages. As in what we're experiencing may have nothing to do with them. Yeah, the power outages got to Tamale last night, and we have reports.
But the PDS, so what's
doesn't supply power in
what's their
Tamale
reach? Okay.
No, it's just a management. It's a management contract.
So who is managing our
So PDS is not in Tamale or Wa. Yeah. That's the point I'm making. So it could be that these outages don't actually have anything to do with PDS. Okay. We don't know.
Just one little thing. Who is supposed to be communicating anything?
ECG communication.
Is there ECG still? PDS.
PDS. But you see, it now, because PDS is a private entity, the questions can be asked about whether or not we ought to take what they say at face value, or whether the PURC, which is still the regulator, needs to do its own checks and inform us officially what is happening. And if anybody in the food chain has done something wrong, supply chain is the word I was looking for, has done something they shouldn't have done. I'm hungry.
But listen,
if anybody wants to,
nobody's saying that don't put the lights off. I think it will be. We will not be I mean, it's not realistic to say keep the power on 24 hours.
Why is
there
it
will
not
be,
realistic?
No, there will be challenges. That's all I'm saying. So in this case, I've had some explanations
Why
because
should
of the
there be
road construction.
challenges?
Oh, but we live in Ghana now. I'm
Oh,
just saying it may
that
happen
is the
once in
saddest
a while.
reason why we should accept the wrong thing.
So for instance, there's an explanation that says because of the Pokwasi construction, they're having to move some blah 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 blah. That's why I'm saying that you can have real challenges. But the point is, shouldn't you tell us something? You know, instead of oh, it will be back. Like, what was the explanation that Nana Damwa gave on Facebook? It was a power trip or something.
So
is this like a power trip? Do you get what I mean? I think that's the thing that I don't like about this whole thing. And so then somebody says GRICO, VRA, blah blah blah.
So it's not that. So it's not that they are not telling us anything, but we don't trust what they're telling us, because we are hearing from all of them. The Energy Ministry, in the person of Nana Damwa, put out something. GRIDCO put out something. The company PDS put out something. So they are putting out information.
They should consolidate their communication.
Yeah, look, the thing is, we've been through an experience, and so we have this fear or trepidation that maybe if you look at the pattern of the power cuts, it looks like it's a semblance of something that the communication, yes, we've seen before, and if we were being communicated to, should be something that is planned. Because we have consistently, and yesterday we did the verification, all of us, if we monitor the pages, that on the main platforms, let's say what we do on the program platform, people were reporting. On the news platform, people were reporting. Then personally, I decided to verify some of these concerns on various platforms I belong to, either classmates or other groups, peer groups. And it looks like I had people from Pando, I had people from Ho, Hopwe, I had people from the northern part of our country. Then I had people from the central region, the western region, the Ashanti region. We're not saying all, but you get to find that there are dotted power cuts consistently in the evenings. What does it tell us? In the evenings is when consumers tend to use more power. And so it makes sense to say that if you want to shed off load from the national grid, you have to do it in the evenings. But please, we should be communicated to that now we have a schedule.
That is if it's load shedding.
Then what is it?
But even if it is not load shedding, that's what I'm saying.
They
and you have a
that
challenge.
It is all manner of faults and challenges.
Because we're told that large sections of Ho was off. Large areas
on YSB have tripped.
In Hopwe.
That's what GRIDCO said.
Off. Large areas.
And it was going to be restored when?
In Cape Coast you have you had power trips.
I
had power trips in the
evening.
You have power trips in the evening to go come. And then a day before they had, the current being very low, maybe it come on
I have learned
an iron or something
one
of the
thing,
sort.
maybe from the vice president, and I thank him for that. When the fundamentals,
fundamentals of what?
It would expose
of the
you.
CD.
No, I'm not talking about the CD. We're talking
all right, so this is what GRIDCO said. They said some transmission lines in the west tripped together with all generating units at Abwaze, Bui, Asogli, Pong, and the Pong generating stations. Okay, so, and then they restored the transmission lines, but it took some time for thermal generating units to restart, which resulted in a long outage. This is the explanation.
So this is to say that it's been restored.
No, this is the explanation for the night before. We haven't got an explanation for last night.
Charlie, you have a bigger challenge than what you have told us.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I think. So why is it consistent?
Maybe the wires tripped
again, and then it will happen again. How about those whose wires are like that? Amazing.
Wires when you see
I'm blaming on some wires. But when the fundamentals, but Moses Akrobeto has a story in the Daily Graphic which is very related to this. The fact that the $280 million Takrade T3 thermal plants in the Abwaze Power Enclave in the Shama districts in the Western region has been left idle for about 6 years due to operational failures. After its inauguration in April 2013, the plant worked for about 6 months, generating between 60 and 70 megawatts of power before it broke down and has since not been fixed. So, constructed to generate 132 megawatts, The plant has since the breakdown not added a single megawatt to the national grid. So nothing is going on when the Daily Graphic visited the plants.
That's what happens when...
A good breakdown is on page 23. Just check it out.
That's what happens when, as a nation, we don't have a plan. We don't have a plan for power generation. When we don't know what, how much capacity we want to have 10 years from now, 20 years from now. We don't know what the mix should be. How much should be solar? How much should be thermal? You mean we don't have it's not been communicated to us?
Well,
if it exists,
yeah, he's
would we be signing?
So bring the.
Would we be signing power purchase agreements for installations that we don't need? If we had a plan, would we be doing that?
It's the fundamentals.
Oh, Mama V and her fundamentals this morning. All right. Well, let's get to the fundamentals of this story. DI Group sues Manasseh 10 million Ghana cedis over Castle Militia report. For me, I have just one thing to say about it. I think it's rich, very rich, that an organization that was operating as a security company illegally, according to them, can now come and sue the organization that has revealed their illegality. We'll see. They don't like the militia group tag. They don't like it. They don't like it. That's why they are suing left, right, and center. So I think what they will now have to do is go to a court and hope that somehow they can prove that they are not a militia group, or that the militia group tag doesn't apply to what they were doing. Now, unfortunately, you see, what they don't realize is that that documentary was 22 minutes long. It was a struggle finding 22 minutes of footage that tells the story without revealing how we got the footage. Because sometimes, depending on what you show, it might reveal who it was that was doing the secret filming. But in court, we would have to present all of it. DI Group probably thinks we have just 22 minutes of footage, and that's all. Well, what they have done is they have opened the door for all the footage to now be viewed by a judge. We'll see how it ends for them. Let's move on. Okay,
the city. No, I'm not going to go into the city. Let's see. After 2 weeks, then we can track, right? What's today's date again?
14.
2 weeks will be in April? No. Okay. All right. So we'll go back to the story.
We'll still be in March.
I think we have just some 2 minutes, right? So are we doing my jawline right now, or I should talk about my Nigerian story? Sadly,
let's hear the Nigerian story.
Okay, so a building, a 3-story building, I think, collapsed yesterday.
What building is it?
In Lagos. This is a building that houses, it has a school and stores. So yeah, these pictures from Al Jazeera from that building collapsed yesterday. This is in Lagos, proper Lagos, and we're told that at least 10 people have been killed. And many more are feared trapped after a building containing a school collapsed in the Nigerian city of Lagos. The school, which was on the top floor of the 4-story building, so it's 4 and not 3, had more than 100 pupils, according to rescue officials. So about 40 pupils now have been rescued, and they are alive, thank God. And the hospitals are giving names of those that are there, and they're asking parents to come and identify their children. All right. So this is the BBC's reports on the BBC page.
But I wonder if you guys see what I see. I see chaos.
Oh yeah.
Everybody is trying to help.
It was very chaotic. Everybody's
trying to help. Let's not get it wrong. They want to help, but in a situation like this, it is the trained emergency respondents who should be permitted the space to actually handle victims properly, move them, get them to safety or to hospitals or whatever. All of these individuals who are trying to help ought to be behind a cordon, controlled away from the space, because there could be further danger, there could be further collapse.
This is what happened when the incident happened. It was very impossible for the rescuers to get to the scene, but thankfully when it was night time and people had left, they were able to. So hopefully the things that you said about cordoning of the place, we'll see that happen this morning.
Well, we hope that we can find more survivors. It's important that we do that. If you listen to how the news have trickled in, it's a replica or reminiscent of what sub-Saharan Africa is known for. The regulation of the way structures are put up is poor.
So what is interesting, not to cut you, this building was marked for demolition.
Exactly.
The BBC says what you saw on TV says 2018, but what I listened to was 2017.
Yeah.
And it's so typical. Either you know, they mark the building for demolition, and the owners of the building either go and take the markings out, or
they don't do it by themselves.
Authorities don't do it.
Some money to some city
so
authority.
That's exactly what happened in Ghana. A school collapsed in one of our rural areas and killed 6 poor innocent children. We covered that story here on JoyNews, and it was a building that was marked for demolition. And again, nothing happened. These community members went back into the building with their children every single day while the building was creaking, cracking, and getting ready to kill.
All right, let's quickly talk about the Boeing 737 MAX 8, right? So in the last 24 hours, we've seen some other countries react. The US has been very slow.
Because it's their company.
But on Wednesday, the President Donald Trump said they were halting not only 737-8, but also the MAX 9 as well,
which is about to go, which was about to go into production. But let me point out some irony. So the United States, the company that makes Boeing, makes all the money from Boeing, have grounded them. So there are no MAX 8s or 9s flying in the United States, the ones who stand to lose the most. But here in Ghana, our aviation minister made a categorical statement that we will not be banning the flight of MAX 8s to and from Ghana. So as for us, we are okay with Ghanaians flying in a plane that is currently heavily suspected of having a fatal flaw. The people who make the money from the thing have grounded it, but we haven't.
No, but the difference is some of them own it. I mean, we don't have a national airline.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. We haven't banned airlines from carrying Ghanaians in a MAX 8.
Oh, that's what
you understand. Mean. So, but yeah, we don't have aircraft, so we can't ground aircraft.
So you're saying,
I'm talking about the ones that fly in here, the companies that fly MAX 8s. Right now, they can't fly to the US. They can't fly to Canada.
To Canada, to UK, China, to all the European countries.
They can't fly there. They can't carry Chinese citizens, American citizens, Canadian citizens, but they can carry Ghanaian citizens.
That's what you mean.
Because our minister categorically said they can come.
Maybe that position will be reviewed.
And so far, before you come in, Boeing has lost in market value about 26
What reason would they have for reviewing it?
For 26 billion US dollars.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And
over 2-3 days.
What is also latest is the fact that the plane's black box is due to arrive in Paris for the analysis. So,
but again,
lots of things.
Again, what reason will Ghana have now for doing an about turn on that decision?
Oh, you know, other countries have taken the position, so we are following.
That's what we say. That other countries did it, so we have now realized that we were wrong.
Oh, could you take it easy?
And that we were endangering Ghanaians, so we've now realized it.
I think what is, there are some Ghanaians, at least yesterday I heard from somebody who had booked a flight to, I think, the US, who was looking at the ticket very well to see that it wasn't a 737 MAX 8. Yeah, we're laughing now, but this is no joke.
No,
it's a serious matter.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a tragic event that has struck the whole world and struck some chord in everybody that apparently technology has got some defects, if not well tested.
Log on to myjoyonline.com for a lot more news. This is where we have to end it and make way for Benedict. He's got sports full of soccer, football. Stay with us.
The latest.